Buddy Murphy's stock in WWE has skyrocketed over the last year. His strong matches on Smackdown and fantastic feud with Aleister Black have led him to aligning himself with the Monday Night Messiah Seth Rollins and the AOP. Murphy and Rollins recently defeated the Viking Raiders to become the Raw Tag Team Champions, and it seems like 2020 is going to be Murphy's year. He has really made a name for himself over the last couple of years, so let's check out 10 things you didn't know about Murphy. Murphy feels like one of the freshest and hottest commodities in WWE right now, but he has actually been around for almost 7 years. Murphy signed with the company on March 17th of 2013 before debuting at an NXT house show on November 23rd that same year. He stuck around in NXT till 2018 before moving to 205 Live, where he truly established himself as one of WWE's hottest prospects. But that doesn't mean his run on NXT was a failure. In August of 2014, Murphy teamed up with Wesley Blake, and together they became the NXT Tag Team Champions in January of 2015 after they defeated the Lucha Dragons. Not only did this make Murphy the first Australian to hold a title in Vince McMahon's promotion, he also holds the distinction of being one of the longest reigning NXT Tag Team Champions alongside Blake. They held the titles for a total of 219 days, 205 of which are recognized by WWE. Only the Ascension has had a longer reign with the titles. Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong's run as champions also lasted 219 days, and now the gold is back with the Undisputed Era, and odds are they will surpass that number. The Undisputed Era is one of the hottest and most dominant factions in WWE, while everyone remembers the Ascension's run on NXT, even if their main roster experience was nothing short of a disaster. The team of Murphy and Blake should also be held to those same high standards. After losing the NXT Tag Team titles, WWE booked an angle which would split Murphy from Wesley Blake, leading to a brief feud between the two. He was also separated from Alexa Bliss, who got called up to the main roster in 2016. During this time, Murphy pretty much fell off the face of the earth. He was barely booked in any matches, working simply 3 televised matches over a 5-month period in 2016. Things got even worse for him in 2017, which saw him wrestle just 1 televised match over the course of the entire year. In that match, he teamed up with Ty Dillinger to defeat Bobby Roode and Elias. Murphy spent all of 2017 wasting away in obscurity, until he eventually made his way back from the wilderness to establish himself as one of the brightest stars in WWE's Cruiserweight division. 2016 and 2017 were without a doubt the worst years of Murphy's career, with him coming dangerously close to being released from his contract altogether. It is no secret that Murphy is from Australia. Every time he makes his way to the ring announcers state that he is from Melbourne. However, it is interesting to learn that before joining WWE, Murphy had not wrestled in any other country except for Australia. NXT has become home to some of the world's finest talent, with the promotion signing wrestlers who have plied their trade all over the globe. But back in 2013, things were a little different. WWE was on the lookout for promising stars, regardless of their experience working around the globe, and Murphy fit the bill perfectly. Murphy made his pro wrestling debut in September of 2007 under the name Matt Silva at Professional Championship Wrestling. He won the PCW State Championship in late 2010 and was also a mainstay in Melbourne City Wrestling, where he won the MCW Heavyweight title in early 2012. Murphy, whose real name is Matthew Adams, held on to the gold for an impressive 293 days. He signed a developmental deal with WWE just months after losing his title and has stuck around ever since. Every year, Pro Wrestling Illustrated releases a list of their top 500 wrestlers in the world. Seth Rollins came in at number 1 in last year's edition. After a banner year that would see him defeat the Beast Brock Lesnar to become the Universal Champion on 2 occasions. Not only that, he solidified his position as the face of WWE, for a little while at least, and regardless of whatever issues his character faced, he put on fantastic matches with pretty much everyone. His current tag team partner and one half of the Raw Tag Team Champions, Murphy, was placed in the 33rd spot after a strong first year on both Raw and Smackdown. On the Blue brand, Murphy put on awesome matches with Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan before eventually being moved over to Raw. After making the move in October, Murphy eventually entered a feud with the Dutch Destroyer Aleister Black, and both men put on WrestleMania main event worthy matches. He was soundly defeated by Black, losing 3 matches to him in a row, but the feud confirmed that he was on the cusp of a banner 2020. His fantastic performances on both brands earned him his relatively high spot on the list. Considering the new year has started out for Murphy, he is probably going to be featured much higher on the 2020 list. WWE has really developed a habit of messing around with wrestlers' names over the last 5 or 6 years. Antonio Cesaro became Cesaro, Big E Langston became Big E, and Elias Sampson became just Elias. Then you have someone like Mustafa Ali, who was Ali for a little bit before someone backstage chose to give him his first name back. As it turns out, Buddy Murphy falls into the latter category. During his run as one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions, Buddy Murphy had his name shortened and was referred to as Murphy from January to August in 2015. He eventually reverted back to his original name in June of 2016, and to this day, no one knows what prompted that change. And it seems that WWE has decided to tinker with his name once more, as he is now Murphy again. During their time on NXT, Alexa Bliss often accompanied Murphy and Wesley Blake down to the ring. She was an integral part of their act until she was separated from Murphy and got called up to the main roster in 2016. In an interview with Gorilla Position, Bliss said that she had gotten engaged to Murphy around Christmas 2015. While their relationship wasn't exactly a secret, their engagement wasn't as big a deal. A lot of people often forget that the best kept secret was engaged to the goddess for a couple of years. The two eventually broke up in September of 2018, and as of right now, they are on separate shows, with Bliss still teaming up with Nikki Cross on Friday Night Smackdown. It'll be interesting to see if WWE continues to keep them on different shows. Pro wrestlers often draw on their personal lives to create their wrestling names. The CM in CM Punk, for example, stands for Chick Magnet, because the cult of personality was quite the ladies' man before and during his run in WWE. Buddy Murphy chose his name not based on his ability to charm women, but his hometown. Murphy is a supporter of his hometown Australian rules football club, the Carlton Football Club. His ring name is actually a reference to a player on that team named Mark Murphy. Mark Murphy's career kicked off in 2006, which means that he had more than enough time to make a big impression on Buddy Murphy. As great as Murphy has been over the last couple of years, he is nowhere near being a household name right now. WWE's foray into reality programming has been a massive success with Total Divas, Total Bellas, and Miz and Mrs. Way back when, WWE turned to the Bella Twins to help the promotion to be a success in the world of reality programming, and the gamble paid off. Over the years, the Total Divas roster has expanded, with the promotion turning to its most marketable stars to become crossover successes for the company. His former fiancée Alexa Bliss spent 4 seasons on Total Divas. She had guest appearances on seasons 4, 6, and 8, with season 7 being the only one where she was a true member of the cast. Over the course of season 7, Bliss appeared in 15 episodes. Total Divas loves delving into the personal lives of its wrestlers, so naturally Murphy was also involved. Murphy made a solitary appearance on Total Divas when he was still with Little Miss Bliss, but WWE resisted the urge to take the couple and turn them into one of the central storylines on the show. It was probably for the best too, because Murphy was a completely unproven commodity at the time, and the show wasn't really about Bliss either. Compared to a lot of the other women on the show at the time, she was one of the less important members, despite her fantastic work in the ring. Now that the couple is broken up, it is highly unlikely that Murphy will be involved in another WWE reality show, unless of course the E! Network is interested in chronicling his journey with the Monday Night Messiah. The Revival is one of the greatest tag teams working today. Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder have repeatedly proven that they have the ability to make tag team wrestling far more relevant than it has been in a long time, but WWE's relative disinterest in tag team wrestling has left the Revival struggling for consistent relevancy. Anyone who is interested in learning about tag team wrestling should look at the Revival, because it will more than likely be enough. In early 2019, Murphy appeared on Lillian Garcia's Chasing Glory podcast. During the interview, Murphy said the Revival had led by example backstage, and that the lessons they taught in the ring were eventually used by every tag team in NXT at the time. Murphy said, "Our tag team wrestling skills, all Revival. Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. They taught us tag team wrestling. We'd have these matches with them, and they'd just kinda do it. And we'd just kinda learn so much. And then we would take that, and we would take that to newer guys like Enzo and Cass. We would do that with them, and then Jordan and Gable at the time, and then it just became this. The tag team division was good. Murphy rose to prominence on Smackdown when backstage camera footage placed Murphy at the scene of the crime when Roman Reigns was mysteriously attacked. This strongly suggested that including Murphy in the story was always the plan, yet since it has unfolded, reports have surfaced that Murphy's appearance was just an accident. The feud between Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns was given an interesting twist with the inclusion of Murphy. He went on to have fantastic matches with both men and even defeated the leader of the Yes Movement in one of the upsets of the year. Murphy's inclusion in the story put him in the match and gave him an opportunity he potentially never would have had. It can be argued that if it never happened, Murphy would never have ended up on Paul Heyman's radar, who is reported to be a massive fan of him, which would explain the push he has been receiving on the Red brand. And these were 10 things you did not know about Murphy. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching Wrestling Hub, and I'll see you later in the next video.